Hi
Hey
Danielle, how
Rachel.
are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing great. So to start, I saw the play when it was on Broadway. So I
Mhm.
wanted to ask for you for the comparison of, you know, working opposite these actors who got to live in these characters on Broadway for so long. How was it
Mhm.
for you stepping on that set and getting to embody this woman in a completely fresh perspective in
Yeah.
comparison to like what they had done?
Yeah, I think we all had the opportunity to hit reset, or I'm coming in creating something new with them, and
Mhm.
they had a reset button in that they had time away. Also, in that the script is not um, the play, it is an adaptation, and it has all of these interior qualities, these interiority explorations as a part of the experience of the film. And so we all come in with our own understanding, and we all have the connective tissue of Malcolm being this conduit for us. And I don't think a lot of us are having conversations about the dynamics of relationship, because when you're talking about this era of Black family, we're not talking about people who are having that kind of an open dialogue. That's the challenge of Boy Willie and Bernice. That's the challenge of Wine and Boy, and the challenge of Doker. No, the information is not being freely given. It's being spooned out, right? Like it's being forced. Um and so yeah, that's all making for our own personal rigor and understanding, so that when we do come to each other in the scene, it's fueled with these surprise, in these reckonings of surprise, because we aren't having conversation in the way that the families are challenged by lack of knowledge of each other. And so that makes for a completely uh fresh understanding of the piano lesson, and hopefully encourages people to go back to the book and read it in the play form, and then therein go and have another experience with it in all other kinds of ways. Yeah.
Yeah, well, and I when I brought this up with John David and Malcolm, it went off the rails because I'm from Pittsburgh and I made the joke that August Wilson is our greatest playwright. We all love him, but like his plays are never done in the Pittsburgh accent because it's a bad accent. It's like no one actually sounds like they're from Pittsburgh in August Wilson plays, and that's fine. No one should. But this felt so Pittsburgh and how it was shot, and like this house. Like I was like,
Huh.
yeah, I 100% have seen that house in Pittsburgh at any given point. But when you are in something that Pittsburgh is such a key part of August Wilson's work because it's very much who he was, how do
Mhm.
you, as an actor, kind of honor that while still honoring like Bernice's Pittsburgh and making sure it is like the city that she lives in and not just like August Wilson's version of
Right,
that
right,
city?
right, right. Well, I feel like you got to be a historian, and you got to explore it, because that's critical of this decade.
Mhm.
Uh, when you talk about people coming from a certain space, they haven't eradicated their accent, right? They're from Mississippi, so they Southerners who happen to be in Pittsburgh. So that is what we have to move through and employ when we're talking about the way people talk to each other. It's different to speak outside of the home
Mhm.
than the way you speak inside of the home. So you're different at work than you are when you're, on the corner, in 1930s, than you are inside the house, sitting on the porch, or, there's just people shift. It's not even double speak wholly. Sometimes it's triple or quadruple, right? That we are different people in different spaces, and they're forced to be different people in different spaces, especially at this time. And the boom of the industrial like economy at this era is like it's changing the way we all interact with the world, the way we talk about business, the way we talk about desire, the way we talk about everything. And so coupling that with the Mississippian awareness, it's a fresh thing that's happening in
Mhm.
Pittsburgh therein. And so that's what's happening to make that kind of cultural linguistics flow.
Yeah, I loved it. It was like truly I was like this is I feel this is the Pittsburgh I know, like
Mm,
look wise. And then it was just like, yeah, well, this family is there were so many transplants that moved to Pittsburgh from all over. And so it is like
Yeah.
such a little melting pot in itself. And I love it.
Hodgepodge. Yeah.
It's such a fun city. And but for my last question, I want to ask with something like this, when you get to like adapt a play for a screen, I think we have moved away a lot from doing plays. And so whenever it happens, I get really excited. What for you is the most exciting part of doing an adaptation of a play versus an adaptation of a book or something that is
Hmm.
almost widely known than some of these plays are?
I think uh, people people are elated because they have such a rich connection to it. They might have seen it 2 years ago. They might have seen it a year ago. They are constantly in this world in a kind of way. Books are longer. People just don't. I mean, I like to think people read, but we just have a different engagement with literacy these days. And so this is that's something people, who are reared in theater have a connectivity to. Um, and you're willing to see it again and again. A play makes you a place is say is oh, you need a close read, you need a third read. And so to have this come from that world and to be in this filmic representation, and it had a TV adaptation as well, right, in the 80s. uh, oh, no, 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 it may have been the 90s, but to have all of these different renditions is what is critical and is what August Wilson desired. He wanted to open up the audience. He wanted to expand it. So when you talk about a TV, that's one way. When you talk about regional theater representation, that's another way. And you talk about a film that has like that makes the world of the play that much more expansive, the world of the screenplay that's more expansive. That's the Globe. So many people are like, I know his work. And then so many other people like, I don't know his work and I want to know more about his work. Boom, you know.
Yeah, I cannot wait for people to see this because I've been thinking about that song the boys do since I saw it
Berta
on Broadway.
Berta. Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
was like, yeah, here it comes. I'm so
Yeah.
excited. But I
Yeah.
can't wait for when to get to see this movie. You're incredible in it. And thank you so much for talking with me today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Pittsburgh going global, baby.
Pittsburgh, thank you.